Well, a very good morning and happy new month, wherever you're tuned in from, Kenya, East Africa, around the world. My name is Wahiga Maura. Welcome to Citizen Extra. Glad you found time to tune in as we bring you breaking news, periodic updates, and incisive interviews for the next 3 hours or so. Well, these are some of the big talking points in today's program. Now, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, has launched investigations into the killing of Meru University student leader Evans Njoroge. The Students' Association Secretary General was shot dead on Tuesday, and leaders have called for thorough investigations into his killing. Today, we want to engage you on the topic of student leadership in university and get your thoughts on what should be the role of student leaders in a modern Kenyan university. All right, you can talk to us. 22422 is our SMS line, and on social media as well. What are your thoughts about university student leadership? I'll be reading your feedback throughout the course of this program. Elsewhere, however, we will continue updating you on various election petition rulings happening across the country. With the petition set to conclude next week, this is a busy time for the judiciary, and we'll bring you live proceedings from some of the courtrooms in the course of the program. And finally, the gap between the rich and the poor keeps widening, a new study shows. Although steady economic growth in recent years has helped some, and new technology has brought financial inclusion within the reach of many who were previously excluded. Poverty and food insecurity, however, remain a daily reality for many Kenyans, according to a study by Twaweza, a citizen-centered initiative focusing on large-scale change in East Africa. Well, we delve into this report with one of its contributors at the tail end of this program. Indeed, many thanks for tuning in. Let's now get to some of the other big stories of the day. And all eyes will be on the Nyeri Residence Magistrates Court, where prominent businessman Jimmy Wanjigi is expected to appear after he was summoned yesterday. Wanjigi was served with the summons yesterday evening by police who blocked his car near Museum Hill after trailing him from Westland. Drama ensued at the scene after Wanjigi refused to get out of his car in the face of heavily armed police. Wanjigi and his lawyer, Willis Otieno, insist that they are unaware of the alleged offense to which he is expected to plead.
The scene.
Meanwhile, lecturers will today announce the start of their strike for what they say is the failure by government to table an offer to counter their 2017 collective bargaining agreement. The university's academic staff union accuses the Inter-Public Universities Council Consultative Forum of failing to table the offer on 5 consecutive occasions since May last year. According to the Secretary General, Constantine Wasonga, the union reneged on its promises to table the offer on the 31st of May and 1st of July, and on the 31st of January, 13th of February, and 21st of February this year. The strike 7-day notice was issued last Wednesday. Well, a high court in Eldoret will this morning decide the fate of Nandi Hills Member of Parliament Alfred KETER as it rules in an election petition filed against him. In the case before Justice George Kimondo, the petitioner, Bernard Kitur, alleges that KETER conducted illegal campaigns on the 6th and 7th of August and that the firebrand politician also bribed voters. KETER is out on bond in a case where he is charged with 11 counts of forgery and conspiracy to defraud the Central Bank of Kenya of treasury bills worth 633 million Kenya shillings. Now, one person was injured after a plane carrying former Nyeri Town Member of Parliament Esther Murugi crash-landed at the Nyaribo airstrip outside the town. The former MP's daughter-in-law was slightly injured on the forehead following the crash that occurred at around 4 p.m. yesterday. Now, Murugi, her daughter-in-law and the pilot were the only people on board. The former Member of Parliament and the pilot escaped unhurt following this crash. The light aircraft was attempting to take off from the airstrip at the time of the crash.
So we were just flying back to Nairobi. So we had just taken off, and then I wouldn't know the technical term to use, but the plane just came down. And maybe what I can say also is I'm thankful that it happened here, because we had not really gone very high in the air. We had just almost finished the runway, so we had, if it was up there, then maybe it would be a different story.
Now, Kenya Wildlife Service officers in Isiolo County have captured 2 lionesses in Sericho and Baasa that have been killing livestock. The sister lionesses will be transferred to Kora and Meru National Parks as a temporary measure to curb increased human-wildlife conflict in the area. Isiolo KWS Senior Warden Peter Mbote says residents had reported that the lions had killed over 200 livestock over the last 2 months. Members of the public were treated to a show when the officers presented the caged lions that were in a truck for viewing. Governor Mohamed Kuti, Kenya Red Cross Secretary General Abbas Gulet, and his team, who were having a meeting at Kuti's office, also had a chance to see the big cats.
We are very grateful that after we engaged KWS, they were able to track down the lions, the 2 lionesses, and they were able to be sedated and captured and caged, and now be taken to relocated to another park. So we are very grateful, because now we will have less human-wildlife conflict in that area.
Well, we now bring you some breaking news out of Kitale High Court, where the judge there has upheld the election of Saboti Member of Parliament Caleb Amisi. Now, this election was challenged by Jonas Kuko, a Jubilee candidate, who was challenging that election before Justice Cecilia Gitua. However, he had said that this is Jonas Kuko, the Jubilee candidate, had said that the August 8th election was not free and fair, and that his victory was stolen. But the High Court, after having listened to all the evidence from all parties, has decided that election was properly conducted. They have thrown out that particular petition, and thus the election of Saboti Member of Parliament Caleb Amisi has been upheld. We are bringing you some pictures now from Kitale, this having happened a couple of minutes ago. All right, just to bring you that update one more time, in Kitale, a High Court, and these are some of the pictures we are bringing you, has upheld the election of Saboti Member of Parliament Caleb Amisi. Now, it was challenged by Jonas Kuko, a Jubilee, the Jubilee candidate in that election, before Justice Cecilia Gitua. But after listening to all the evidence, and of course the assertion by Jonas Kuko that the election was not free and fair and that his victory was stolen, the judge in this matter has decided that they will uphold that particular election. And of course, for Honorable Caleb Amisi, this is now behind him, and he can focus on other matters. As I mentioned, we now want to take you to Uasin Gishu County, Eldoret to be more specific, where a High Court will this morning decide the fate of Nandi Hills Member of Parliament Alfred KETER, as it rules in an election petition filed against him. To give us more updates about this case, what were the arguments by the petitioner and the respondents, and whether the ruling has actually started in terms of being read by the judge. Let's now bring in John Wanyama. John, good morning. A lot of excitement and focus on that particular matter because of who Alfred KETER is. He's been in the headlines for the last 2 months for various issues, whether it's being removed from a parliamentary committee or whether it's a matter of 633 million Kenya shillings treasury bills that he's accused of having tried to cash when they had already been cashed before, according to the central bank. Wanyama, tell us a bit more about this high-stakes petition ruling.
Indeed, Wahiga, very many people in Eldoret here are very anxious to know what will be happening in High Court today. And we are expecting Justice Kimondo to walk into this court any moment from now. We are being told that he will start this by at least 10 a.m. so that he can start maybe reading the ruling today. And everyone is outside. People are here, a lot of people. And you go outside this courtroom, Wahiga, you'll realize that a lot of people have come here to witness, and security is very tight outside there. And as you know, yesterday and the day after yesterday also, this same court under the same judge also had 2 cases to rule in this same room. And Wahiga, the case that the judge is handling today is Nand Hills, a case where Alfred KETER, the member of parliament for Nand Hills, was challenged in court by one Bernard Kitur, who came to this court and challenged that during campaign, Alfred KETER went on with his campaign even after the official time for IEBC was over. That's the major issue he's basing on his case, that he went against the law to campaign when the official time was over. And we are just waiting to see, to see what the judges will have to say in this matter. But also in his, when he was testifying in this court also, we saw the member of parliament, Alfred KETER, also saying that he wasn't really campaigning during that time, but he was coming from maybe from a family that had lost their loved one, and he was just going there to console, to cry with them and to say a word of pole. But when he was going back home is when he met supporters on the road who blocked him and forced him to talk to them. And that one also, we saw we saw the advocate also saying, when a judge or when a member of parliament stops somewhere and start talking to people, that one amounts to a political rally. So we are waiting to see what will be happening here. And also, as you know what the judges say, if you allege, then you must come and prove, and not only prove, but you must have concrete evidence to prove what you are alleging. So Wahiga, we are waiting to see what will be happening here any moment from now, and we will not hesitate to come to you to tell you what will be happening here in Eldoret High Court and our viewers. Maura.
Thank you so much, John Wanyama, just for putting that into perspective. We will be coming back to you later on as soon as the judge in that particular matter begins the ruling. All right, let's continue to give you more updates now. We want to tell you about just a quick one, which just clarifying which story we now want to go to as we continue to bring you more updates. Okay, that should be coming up, a story on Munya. Got it here. Let's go right into it. Incoming CS in the EAC and Northern Corridor Development, Peter Munya, says the success of the East African community will be achieved by ensuring that the residents embrace the idea and drive integration. Munya said that residents of member states need to buy into the idea of integration so that they can be the ones driving the agenda. Now, the CS spoke while taking over from outgoing CS Phyllis Kandie, and that they intend to spend more time and resources in meeting the people outside of boardrooms.
To ensure that East Africans use the EAC passports, it was because this team really pushed, the national identity card to cross the borders. That was one of the achievements. As you know, that we were able to even push for the East African passport. That was one of the other achievements. Under tourism, we are now able to market EAC together.
Our core function as this ministry includes coordination of ministries, counties, departments, and agencies to participate effectively in the EAC integration process. Number two is capacity building of the citizenry to maximize the benefit of EAC integration. And number three is communication and dissemination of information on the integration process and opportunities arising thereof.
All right, that's a little bit about what's happening across the country. We also will shortly be taking you to Siaya, where a court there will be ruling on a matter of the Ugenya parliamentary seat. The incumbent, that's ODM's Chris Karan, is being challenged by former Ugenya Member of Parliament David Ochieng, who vied on a Movement for Development and Growth, MDG, party ticket. We'll be taking you there as soon as the judge begins reading that particular ruling. Well, we also have some international updates for you. We begin with telling you a little bit about the upcoming Oscars. And when the Oscar winners are announced this weekend, it won't only be Hollywood superstars who will be waiting anxiously. There'll also be 8 graduates from a film college in Kenya nervously awaiting the results. Those graduates of the African Digital Media Institute in Nairobi were part of a team making a movie nominated in the category of Best Short Live Action Film. The film, called Watu Wote, or All of Us, tells the story of a terror attack on a bus in Kenya by militant group Al-Shabaab in 2015, in which Muslim passengers protected Christians. Meanwhile, the red carpet, as you can see on your screen, was rolled out in Los Angeles yesterday along the city's iconic Hollywood Boulevard ahead of Sunday's Academy Awards. The preparations for the Oscars, the highest honors in the movie business, come as the awards show prepares to mark its 90th ceremony. And U.S. President Donald Trump called Reverend Billy Graham an ambassador for Christ at a memorial service for the evangelist preacher at the U.S. Capitol yesterday. The body of the evangelist arrived at the Capitol on the same day, where he will lie in honor under the rotunda as Congress pays tribute to a clergyman who counseled presidents and preached the gospel to millions worldwide. His funeral is planned for the 2nd of March at a venue that holds about 2,300 people in front of the library. He'll be buried on library premises next to his wife, who died in 2007. Meanwhile, hundreds of couples toting AR-15 rifles packed a Unification Church in Pennsylvania yesterday to have their marriages blessed and their weapons celebrated as rods of iron that could have saved lives in a recent Florida school shooting. Women dressed in white and men in dark suits gripped the guns, which they had been urged to bring unloaded to the church in rural Pocono Mountains, about 160 kilometers north of Philadelphia. Many celebrants wore crowns, some made of bullets, while church officials dressed in flowing bright pink. All right, you're watching Citizen Extra. Time now for a quick break. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll be talking about student leadership in universities and, of course, all this tying back to what happened in Meru when the Secretary General, Evans Njoroge, lost his life earlier this week. We take a quick break now. We'll be right back.